Welcome to the unveiling of untold history documentaries, mastering classes in business management, and sparking insights through money dialogues. This is JephKafka TV, where you discover untold business histories, master the art of management, and ignite money conversations that matter.
Have you ever wondered what happens to people when they receive a huge amount of money unexpectedly? Or if I may rephrase that question, what happens to the money when it is received by people who are not used to that kind of money? You know, there has been research because almost 90% of people who win lotteries end up being more broke than they were before they won the lottery. And it has been an age-long question. Philosophers, mathematicians, psychologists, they all wonder what happens to people when they hold that kind of money. And the reason why I'm asking this is because I've recently come across a series on Showmax. You should watch it. It's called Nilichoma. Nilichoma is basically a Swahili word that summarizes the regrets of a person who had money but somehow wasted all of it. And when I say wasted, I mean that this person had a huge amount of money that would be life-changing for some people, money that would maybe even change the course of generations to come, but within a year or two, they wasted it. I particularly remember a case of one guy. I think his name is Francis. Francis was a casual laborer in Nyeri somewhere. Francis was probably used to a lot of money when he held something like 500 shillings, maybe at the end of a good day of work. And Francis was able to live within that 500 bob because he was able to budget for his family, maybe do his whatever he needed for the day, and even have enough left for maybe a glass of his favorite brew in the evening. Then one day, what Francis thought was a blessing came to him, but it turned out to be his worst memory. A construction firm was making a road near where his shamba was, and the government was compensating the owners of those shambas so that the road could pass through their areas. And so Francis was one of the beneficiaries. He received a compensation of about 4 million shillings, money that he had never dreamt of, money that he had never touched, money that, he couldn't have imagined he would receive 4 million shillings. I bet he doesn't even know how many zeros are there in a million, but that money was put in his account. And this changed Francis drastically, and, in all ways, in the bad way. Fast forward 2 years down the line, Francis is on the program, regretting, saying nilichoma, because whatever he had, the 4 million shillings, evaporated. Or in other words, he used it for things that he cannot quantify, he can't touch, he can't maybe even claim back. He's even in more debt than he was. One thing psychologically, he was trying to live the kind of life that he had seen people with money live, partying, having a lot of women, buying beer for friends, And his story is even more tragic because at one point when the compensation money ended, he wanted to continue with that kind of life. So what did he do? He went and sold a second piece of land so that he could hold that kind of money so that he can continue living that lifestyle that he had started believing is what he's supposed to be living. And it ended tragically again. No money, no investment, no friends, no shamba, no future, So, as I was saying earlier, it's a problem that has been researched by psychologists, mathematicians, economists, a lot of people, and no one has ever come up with a conclusive reason why that tends to happen. Mbona ukipata pesa mingi unaichoma haraka hivyo? And I think I have a solution, albeit an opinion that I would like to share. So let me explain. The basics of economics. We learned in an economics class that when you have an income, the purpose of that income is to do two things: consume and save. So there is an equation, an economics equation. You can ask those who have done basic economics, and I'm trying to explain it from the most basic point, that income, which is represented by Y, equals C, which represents consumption, plus S, which represents savings. So as a normal person, when you get an income, so the key thing here is an income. And the reason why this explanation of why people choma is because there are different types of incomes or different levels of incomes. For instance, for let's say the low class people, their income comes from selling labor. So you find that in most cases, whatever they're getting is small, so they have to either like consume all of it or consume most of it and save a little. The middle class, so this is the low income earners. For the middle class, you find that mostly their income comes from their status, because they are, they can be consultants, they have good loan standings and all that. So for them again, they have an income, they can consume, and maybe probably the share of the amount that they'll save becomes even more. And then there are the people at the top of the pyramid. Those are the high income earners. You find that their income comes mostly from capital assets, and in most cases also from power. I mean, people in power, you don't know what they're producing, but you find that they have an income. So that explained, in a normal scenario, income will always be what you will always be made up of what you consume plus what you save. So if it so happens that over time, maybe over a year, you get a regular amount of income, but you continue saving, that is, in the first month you saved a certain amount, in the second month you saved a certain amount, in the nth month, which could be the end of the year, you've saved a certain amount of money, then it means we are able to replace the S in this equation with the I to stand for investment. Meaning that whatever you have earned during that year will be equal to the consumption that you've made during that period, plus whatever you have saved during that year, and you have converted it into an investment. So now here comes the next question. What is an investment? And an investment, again, according to my opinion, should be something that generates you an income. So here is the question that I would like to ask you. One person buys land. Of course, land selling companies will tell you invest in land. Another person starts a business. Of course, again, we know that the chances of a business picking up and going beyond that year is about 20%. But assuming that all factors remain constant, which is the investment here? Is it the land? Is it the business? I would say it's the business because of its ability to generate new income. So that now, when these savings have been turned into investments, the second equation now changes. That now we have the original income plus new income, and this new income has been generated by the investment that we invested using the savings that we got from the previous period. So that now your income now changes, your income equation changes to consumption. You can either remain at the original consumption or you can increase your consumption, but still you'll have a portion that you'll save and you'll have your investment, and these investments will generate more income. So in that scenario then, it means that you can be able to grow your income so that at one point you'll have an almost infinite amount of income. At that point, you can consume however you want because you'll have a lot of savings, and over time, you've been investing, or rather you have been converting your savings into investments. Those investments have been generating your income. That income has been giving you that cycle whereby you're able to generate new income, you're able to increase your consumption, you're able to increase your savings, etc. Then what happens when you want to increase your consumption, not from the new income, but from borrowed money? So in this scenario, we have debt. Debt is whereby your income is constant. If you are an employee, you're earning whatever you're earning, a certain amount of money. If you're earning 50,000, your income remains constant. It's 50,000. Now, to be able to explain these, maybe we should go back a little bit, whereby we assume that this income here was 50,000. You are consuming 35,000 and you are able to save 15,000. So it makes the equation complete that your income of 50,000 is made up of your consumption of 35. Consumption here includes what you pay for rent, your taxes, your entertainment, whatever else. Then you save 15,000. So if you want to increase your consumption without going to the second equation where you increase your consumption because of your savings, it means you can borrow. So that now you've borrowed a certain amount of money, so that now your consumption is not where it was originally, it has increased to 1. Probably used to use a matatu when the equation was like this. Now you own a car, which you got through debt. So it means now your consumption has been increased because of things like fuel, repairs, wear and tear, bribing the police. All those things have increased your consumption because now you've acquired something through debt. But remember, your income is constant. So what will that mean? It will mean if you're saving 15,000 initially, before you acquired your consumable through debt, it means now your savings will have to reduce because you will use part of the savings to repay the debt. So your income will remain constant. Your consumption will have gone up, but your savings will have gone down. So at the end of the day, compared to this person who lives a normal life, compared to this person who has invested, the person who has taken a debt to consume, so in this case, I'm not saying to produce, but to consume, will find themselves in a worse off situation than they were before they took the debt. Remember, it's my opinion, backed by some economics classes. Now, what happens to these people who we are saying nilichoma? So these people are not using any of these categories because in their case, they are ignoring the savings part. They're ignoring the investments part. So that this guy, Francis or whoever else that has gotten a lump sum amount of money, whatever they get, they consume. So meaning this will be a matter of time. When the 4 million is not invested, the 4 million is not saved, even a portion of it, then they will be in a situation whereby, because now this will be, the equation must be complete, that income is equals to consumption plus savings. So in this case, the 4 million will be equal to the 4 million they have consumed plus 0. So if you're a mathematician, you try to make S the subject of the equation. It means S should be equal to Y minus consumption, which in this case is 4 million minus 4 million equals 0. So that explains the reason why when you get a windfall, you should always think of this economic equation where as much as you're consuming, you should also save. But even if you're not getting the windfall, if you have your small beginnings, if you are true to this equation, the first savings plus the second savings plus the end savings will be enough to start an investment. But as we've said, always be careful. This is up for debate, what you're investing in. If you're investing in something that will generate new income, or if you're investing in something that, as much as it is an investment, it will look like a debt, whereby you're spending the money that you should have been spending to save to cater for the additional consumption that investment is coming up with. And in the last case, if you ever get any money, income from employment, income from power, income from wherever, don't use this equation where S is 0, because at the end of the day, you will end up 0. So this has been JephKafka TV.
This is JephKafka TV.